It's also today World Cancer Day, and a good time for people in Berkshire and everywhere to share stories and positive strides that are being made in cancer treatment. It's something that's certainly been happening in Kingsclere. 4 friends who've all been affected by cancer held a party to celebrate the end of treatment at the end of last year, and it raised, stand back for this, £40,000 for Cancer Research UK. What an achievement. And it led to a new local fundraising group being set up as well. Mandy Keeble and Sean Cleghorn are 2 members of the group. They join us now on BBC Radio Berkshire. Thanks for joining us on the programme today. Mandy, first of all, tell us a little bit about your cancer journey.
So I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. I've had a lumpectomy, chemotherapy and radiotherapy. And yes, I've come through all of that, and I think we just wanted to do something to say thank you to everybody and raise some much needed funds that are vital basically to enable research to happen. So Cancer Research does some amazing treatments, and I know myself and Claire have both benefited from those treatments. So we wanted to give something back, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and we will talk about the remarkable thing that you did to raise that money, and also about what's being done now. But for families, for individuals who are listening, in the knowledge that about 1 in 2 people will experience cancer at some point during their lives, what was the diagnosis like for you? How did you react?
It's almost like your world collapses around you, really. It's shock, and initially, because you kind of, unfortunately, you always go to the negative and the worst case scenario. I was fine until the nurse, well, we were taken into a side room, and the nurse said to me, "Have you got children?" And that, to me, just that broke me, because the thought of having to tell them and sort them out, and you know, the future, what does that hold for them as well? However, I think out of all of it, what I have learned and I've come through to think is there is hope, and that there is there's so many amazing treatments out there, and so much that can be done, that it isn't all doom and gloom in some cases, and in that you know, you've got to hold on to that hope and think positively and try and work towards that, really.
Yes, I imagine your brain is probably scrambled egg when you're given a diagnosis like that, and it might be hard to then focus on the fact that more people survive cancer now than at any point in history.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
And that down to, amongst many others, Cancer Research UK, and we'll talk a bit more about that as well. Sean, let's turn to you. How did you get involved?
Vernon, my wife sadly died of pancreatic cancer 2 years ago. Some 4 weeks after diagnosis, and to some extent, like Mandy, our world collapsed around us as well. It's quite a sort of very, very difficult time. But one thing that came out of that, or a number of things that came out of it, especially, was our desire not to let other families go through what we went through. Having made that decision, having decided that we wanted to talk more about cancer, make people aware, look for early diagnosis, raising funds for cancer research, as Mandy has already said, was such an important part of that. And for us, it's going to be an ongoing and important part of our lives, and my family lives, and all our lives for some time to come.
Yes, tell me a bit about fundraising, because this is your key thing here, isn't it? You are one of these people, Sean, who will throw themselves into making sure every penny counts.
Yeah, well, we as Mandy quite rightly said, the initial idea was to set up a party to thank people who supported everyone for the last couple of years. But it's certainly morphed very quickly into a much broader opportunity to we realised to raise a significant amount of money through the charity ball we held last year, an online auction, direct donations, a whole range of ideas to sort of generate funds for cancer research, and we're just absolutely determined to carry that on and get bigger and better. And we've got the fabulous support from the charity itself, and the fabulous support, especially from our local community. And it's very much a community-based fundraising exercise, but with national and international sort of outreach as well.
Yes, and of course it is World Cancer Day, not British Cancer Day. Mandy, was the plan to have a sort of a charity gala, or did that sort of grow out of something that was slightly more Small scale.
Yeah, no, it definitely started. It wasn't as big as it turned out to be, but yeah, it was initially set up as a party because we wanted to get together everybody in the community and the families, etc., from the wider area as well. We wanted to get everybody together to just say thank you and have a bit of a knees up, really, because it was all of us went through what we went through during COVID, so everything was a bit locked down and treatment wasn't it's as it normally would be, and just simply things like going for chemotherapy. When you go for chemotherapy, you used to be able to have people with you. Once COVID started, that wasn't allowed. So things like that, it was quite tricky to see people and make contact. So we thought we'd start off with a smaller party, and it just grew. And then once Sean came on board, it certainly grew legs, and yeah, it became something quite large, which was fantastic. We were blown away by how much positive reception there was to it. Actually,
yes,
yeah.
It's very interesting you talk about having to go through treatment during lockdown and COVID restrictions, of course, making a difficult time even more difficult. And what you said there will resonate with BBC Radio Berkshire listeners today, not just those who've been receiving treatment for cancer, but for all sorts of conditions, because that's a story, I think, that it has been everywhere, really, over the last couple of years. Sean, what do you put your steely determination to raise money down to then?
I think, as I mentioned, Vernon, it's our determination that really the bottom line, that as fewer families have to go through what we went through again. And if we can do that, as I said, by making people more aware. There was an item on the news just now about earlier diagnosis and making more people aware of symptoms. The more we talked about it, we determined to do that, and the more funds we raised, frankly, the more chance people have not gone through what we went through. So that's a really important part of that sort of that focus for us, and that frankly gives us the steely determination, because frankly we know how bad it was, and it is something we want to try to as many people to avoid as possible.
Sure. And we hear so much, don't we, that times are tough for people. The cost of living crisis, of course, you hear about it absolutely every single day. I wonder if that shows itself, Sean, in that people are still willing to give, but they're giving less.
Well, as Mandy said already, we were just completely blown away by the support we had. And I think the thing that you said earlier, Vernon, is that 1 in 2 people will get cancer at some point in their lives. So almost everybody in some form is going to be touched by cancer, whether a family member or a friend. So everybody is aware of it, and it touches everybody. And it really resonated and raised strong feelings with lots of people. So the support I would have was extraordinary, and I would certainly say people went out of their way to help us.
That's good to hear, isn't it?
Above and beyond.
That really is a heartening thing to hear. It really is. Mandy, Sean, stay with us, because I know you've got big plans, of course, for the future, and we want to talk a little bit about that. So stick around with us, and we'll talk more to Mandy and to Sean in moments here on BBC Radio Berkshire, home of Bill Buckley. He's here with you, some great music and some wonderful guests as well from 10 o'clock today. So with us on the programme at the moment are Mandy and Sean, and they're from Kingsclere, and amongst friends, 4 friends, all affected by cancer, who got together, raised an enormous amount for Cancer Research UK, £40,000. They've got some more plans as well. It's World Cancer Day today. Mandy, I'm wondering whether, in some ways, important as it is, that for people like you and other fundraisers and people who've had treatment for cancer, every day is World Cancer Day.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing actually how this whole thing takes over your life a bit, but in a positive way. And I think that's channeling all our experiences and making sure that, as Sean said, that we can do as much as we can to provide hope to other families and other people. So yeah.
Yeah, and for some people, just hearing you on the radio today will be a comfort and an inspiration, which is the amazing thing. Sean, I'm not expecting that you've read the letters page in the Times today, so I'll share this with you, because I have. There's a letter from a group of leading cancer experts. They're all doctors or professors from universities around the UK, who say that World Cancer Day coincides with the government abandoning its plans for a new long-term cancer plan. can, and instead subsuming it into a generic multi-chronic disease strategy. And they call on the health secretary to listen to the international evidence and reverse that decision. Now, I'm not expecting you to comment on politics, but having read that in the paper today, do you think that there is enough support, not support from the public, but support, if you like, from the centre, from organisations, from the establishment, for cancer patients, for cancer treatment?
It's funny you should say that. I mean, I think you're quite. I mean, in terms of the support that everybody's had from the medical staff, from the clinicians, I think it's been superb. And you're quite right. The public certainly have such a positive sort of, outlook in terms of supporting us and organisations like us. But I do wonder if it's down to the fact that unless your life is touched by cancer, as I said, most people will be at some point or other. Understand the reality of it. It becomes more of a case of perhaps numbers on a page and looking where you can move those numbers to. So from our perspective, everybody we've been touched by it. So many people have. The general public's great, but maybe indeed the establishment itself it treats it perhaps like necessarily, any other disease. But of course, it's something that is prevalent and increasing. There's so many more cases of cancer will be manifest themselves over the next sort of 5 to 10 years than ever before.
I don't know, Mandy, if you were quite touched by Esther Ransom last weekend saying that she'd been diagnosed with lung cancer and wanting to make a point about the support that she'd had and also that incredible wave of emotion that came towards her in the following days.
Yeah, no, I definitely, you can relate to that. And I think the other thing that needs to be spoken about is it doesn't matter what age you get cancer. There are treatments out there, and she has a very positive attitude and is hoping to come through all of that. And I'm sure she will. I think positive attitude has a lot to do with it. And she's certainly got that.
Oh yeah, she really has. In fact, I spoke to her on this programme not that very long ago, actually, and she was just incredible fun. Actually, she was just the most lovely person, and I wasn't that surprised, I don't think, when I saw the comments that she made last weekend. So you've raised £40,000 from You Got the Ball, which was remarkable. Mandy, what plans have you got in the year ahead?
Oh, lots planned. The main thing we've got one huge event which we have decided, because the ball has been so successful, we've decided to do another one at a location that is slightly bigger, so we can take on board more people, because I think it was very difficult to not be able to have everybody. There were a lot of people who said, I really wanted tickets, but you sold out. Blah, blah, blah. So we're moving to a bigger location, and that is on the 6th of September 2024. So it gives us enough time to do a lot of work, a lot of hounding of people and trying to get some more prizes and sponsorship. And we're going to have a few events over the year as well. We've got some things in the pipeline, quizzes, wine tasting, Christmas wreath making, and we're just starting to sit down and plan those things in more detail. So and we're going to put it all on our website.
Yes, give us the website address now. I'll scribble it down, and by doing that, and then I can give it out a couple of times before the end of the programme at 10.
I think Sean's got the website.
Oh, Sean?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. This is Kingsclere CRF. That's one word, and then .org.uk. So it's kingsclerecrf.org.uk.
And that is cancer. The CRS stands for Cancer Research
Fundraiser. That's right.
CRF. I wrote S down, right, kingsclerecrf.org.uk. There we go. And if you're scrabbling for a pen somewhere at home, don't worry, I'll give that out again a couple of times before 10 o'clock. Fantastic. I imagine when you start talking about an event in 2024, Mandy, I'm just imagining Sean standing in a doorway going, no, be more ambitious, do more. Am I right?
No, I think he's pretty practical like we are. I think because we have high plans, and we've got such a lot we want to do. I think we've spaced it out so that we can put our time and effort into each individual event. So we want to make sure that every single one is done in the right way, and we can maximise the money we raise for cancer research as much as possible. So yeah, we're being practical, I think.
Yeah, well, I was kind of half joking, but only half joking, because actually you do need someone who sort of cracks the whip a little bit. I'm painting a picture of you here, Sean. I don't know if it's the right one.
Well, I couldn't possibly disagree with you, but so I think we're a great team, four of us, and we've driven this forward. And as Mandy said, we've got some great plans, and we're going to continue to sort of raise much more money for cancer research, and hopefully at some point, make cancer a thing of the past. But what we want to do is give everybody hope. There is treatment, there are opportunities, and there are life-saving research out there.
Yeah, and you're not on your own. You're certainly not on your own. That's the most important thing. You're inspirations, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on BBC Radio Berkshire. It's always great to hear from you, and good luck. And we'll talk again, I'm sure, in the months to come. Thanks for joining us.
Lovely.
Take
Thanks.
care.
Bye-bye.
Mandy Keeble there and Sean Cleghorn, and they are from that Kingsclere Cancer Research fundraising group. And if you want to find out more, their website, as they mentioned there, is kingsclerecrf.org.uk. kingsclerecrf.org.uk.